Welcome to the Jackson Cloud. I'm Jamin.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Olivia.
And we are here to talk our way through Genesis still. Today we continue our story of Esau, Jacob.
Isaac?
There was two of them.
Okay.
Narnia was like where the other word I was looking for. That was our last episode. Esau, Jacob, and Narnia. The reason for that was because we've been waiting for the perfect human to show up. It was promised one day Eve would give rise to a descendant who would be the perfect human, who would fix the world. And instead, we get to Jacob and Esau, the promised line of God, that one day a descendant would come. And we get a hairy red man.
And an ankle grabber.
And a heel snatcher, which is like how... like the snake in Genesis, he would bite the heel of the coming one. So not only did we not get like the promised one, but we got something that looks like less than a human, hairy, furry, red.
Would it be less or would it be more?
I think
What?
the word you're looking for
You're
is
going X-Men here.
animal-like. I think the word you're looking for here is animal-like.
Yes, he's animal-like, which is not image of God. There's all these animals, but
Listen,
image of God is
All
human.
I'm saying is Beast was a good X-Men.
Okay, all right, he's still on that. Okay, so we've got an animal-like one and then a snake-like one, and we're like, okay, these ones don't really seem like they're probably going to be the ones to fix the world. We're going to continue our story, and we're going to continue to see these two. Not really, we're going to see kind of some animalistic type things, but we're also going to see like some deceit, some trickery, and we're also going to see the prophecy that these two would be two nations that are against each other continue. Two nations are in your womb, two peoples, and these two twins.
So what you're saying is someone's going to roll high on their deception roll at some point.
I don't know what it is with the nerd references with you today, but yes, sure.
I think we should just be glad that no one ate the other in the womb.
So
That happens with twins all the time.
That's just like a joke that doesn't like happen.
No, it does happen.
That actually does happen.
We're moving on here. Okay, so here's a famous story people know pretty well. First off, you got to know the family drama. Isaac, dad, really loves Esau because he likes to eat his things he kills, his game. Okay, and
He's a good hunter.
He's a good hunter. Esau's a good hunter.
So he's the favorite.
A skillful hunter. He's the favorite of the dad.
Yeah.
He likes his food.
Which, as most dads would probably like the food if the son's...
I guess. Seems like a weird thing to play favorites with your child with, but...
I mean, they always did say that the stomach is the gateway to the heart.
Okay, well, there we go. Rebecca, though, loves Jacob. Loves the other one. So we've got family drama going on.
So wait, he's a mama's boy?
I guess. But you've got... today we're always like, don't play favorites. Biblically, you can. I'm just kidding. Biblically.
I don't think that's the message we're trying to send.
And that's
But
our
if it
episode
is,
today.
It's a good thing for my parents since I was the favorite.
Oh, okay, all right. These two are kind of at odds with one another, and we see the family drama going on, and then we see the two coming at each other. Once, when Jacob was cooking stew, so the heel snatcher one, Jacob was cooking stew. Esau came in from the field, and he was exhausted. And Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stew, for I am exhausted." Or another way this could be translated, "Let me eat some of that red stuff, for I am exhausted." Or another way this could be translated, "Let me eat some of that red stuff," because he seems to use red like twice. Like, I
Are
don't.
you trying to like Neanderthal this?
This is what it feels. The way it's written in Hebrew feels like, "Let me eat red stuff." Ma. Like red stuff is even a way like the NRSV is going to
Red
use.
stuff, hoo-ha.
That's exactly the way that this sounds. I'm sorry. But, or another way, one commentary says, well, you remember that he's like red and hairy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another commentary proposes that he might be saying, give red stuff to red man, you know, like give the red stuff to the red guy wants
eat
the
red
Yeah,
meat.
that's kind of what it could possibly mean, or sounds like in the Hebrew, one of the ways that they would propose. Either way, we're thinking he's a hunter. He's a skillful hunter, which kind of has this like almost maybe animalistic urge been to it. Maybe, maybe not. But now the way he's talking feels kind of like animalistic. And give me red stuff, you know. And he's also like, he needs it now because he's exhausted. Apparently, so exhausted that he's willing to do something stupid. Let me eat some of that red stuff, or I'm exhausted. Therefore, his name was called Edom. Anybody know what that is? You know your Hebrew?
No.
It sounds like a type of noodle.
Edom noodle. Actually, in Hebrew, it sounds like the Hebrew word for red.
Oh.
So, red hairy men want to eat red stuff. And so they nickname him, Hey Red! You know, like, Hey Edom! Like, that's in his area. Red is playing a part in this guy's story, right? Okay. Jacob said, Sell me your birthright now. Which, this is where we use the GIF. Well, that escalated quickly, right? He comes in, I'm starving. I gotta eat red stuff good. And Jacob's like, all right, sell me your birthright now. Esau said, I'm about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me? Jacob said, swear to me now. So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob.
Sold his birthright for a bowl of stew.
Yeah. Olivia likes the character inflections I've added into the voice or something. I don't know what's going on over here. Got thoughts you need to add here?
It's just, we've got a classic case of one having the brains and one having the brawn.
Yeah, that would be accurate.
Yeah.
But, you know, like one of the things that, like, you know, when you're a kid and you go up to your parents and you're like, I'm starving. I'm gonna die if I don't, you know, like.
What? I never did that as a kid.
But you know, you were
Really?
never starving. You were never gonna die. Like, you were fine. And your parents knew that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the story. He was out hunting. He is exhausted. Other times when this word for exhausted comes up in the Old Testament, like it can mean like really out of it. So maybe that's it. In my head canon, based on this, give me red stuff. Like, I'm like, are you really that hungry? Or are you like, fall on the floor like a child, like inchworming your way. Give me food.
Wouldn't that take more energy than just walking there?
Okay,
Is that
yes,
not how we
but
behave,
like,
though?
aren't you super dramatic whenever you get hangry?
No, it's just...
Jesus was. He
I'm
cursed a fig tree to death because it didn't have figs. Because he was hungry, and
And it
because it was
wasn't
the
fig
season for
season.
figs.
I mean, usually if I don't know, I feel like I get sleepy when I get hungry.
Okay, well that's not the case with this guy. Maybe he was out hunting for days, got nothing, and now he's starving. Maybe. But red stuff, man, kind of strikes me as like, you know, like, I just don't know. I don't know which way he's going. Either way, he does something really stupid, right? Like, he's at least hungry enough in his mind, like, if I don't eat now, I'm gonna die, just give me some food. To which Jacob uses him. Remember, we just did an episode on, like, the firstborn's the one who gets the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's, in this particular story, whoever the firstborn was gonna get, like, a double blessing from dad. And Jacob knows this. And here's his brother, so hungry he's gonna die. And he's like, okay, sell me your birthright, I'll give you some stew. And he does it. And it's interesting, you know, in previous stories, like we did a whole episode on how Abraham, like, buys a cave to bury his wife, the cave of Machpelah, right? Usually when we have these, like, moments where someone sells something, we also have this moment where someone buys something. Mm-hmm. Here we just have a moment of someone sold something. There's no, like, reference to Jacob, like, buying it. It's just like, all right, here's your stew. So it was almost like this, like, we know it's underhanded already, and only one person really like paid something in this moment, which was him paying his birthright for stew.
A bowl of stew.
For a bowl of stew. And we know that Jacob is, like, his name means, like trickster or heel snatcher. So we're getting a feeling right here, this deceiver, this trickster kind of spirit to him. How do you think he's tricking here? Like, is it just like he saw an opportunity and grabbed it, or do you see anything more?
Well, is he often the person that cooks, or did he plan this whole thing knowing that Esau was going to be hungry when he gets back from hunting?
I wonder. Well, first off, maybe he's been gone a long time. Maybe he knows he's going to be hungry when he gets back. Maybe.
Well, and like, it's weird because the way that it was described, I feel like it's, Jacob was just cooking as normal. Like, for Jacob, it seemed like it was no big deal. Like, that's his leftovers that he's giving away for a birthright. Like, I don't know. For Jacob, it feels like he's giving up nothing, or pretty close to nothing, because it's a stew. Like, add more water to the stew.
And is it a stew? I mean, red stuff.
I mean,
He sees food.
right.
Here's what's interesting in the next line. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Have you ever had lentil stew before?
I've had lentils before.
Yeah? What color are they?
Depends on what kind you get.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're red.
Sometimes. If they had Egyptian lentils, they would be red. But like when I go to Dearborn to my favorite Sahara restaurant to pick up all the food, and I get lentil stew, it's greenish, yellowish, which is what lentil stew often is. And here we have hungry meat man walk up, starving, sees he's cooking something, it's red, which usually would imply something of a meat variety, and he sells his birthright, and then he eats it, and he got veggie soup. It's like, you got beans. You was beaned, man.
So wait, he sold his birthright for beans?
For bean soup, yeah.
Were they magic beans?
And then he went and threw them in the ground, and a beanstalk came, and a Nephilim at the top of it was. Anyways, there's a possibility, as one commentary suggests here, is like he didn't know that it was lentil stew, and he added something to give it the color of red, so that it'd be like, it would look more appetizing, especially to a skillful hunter who loves meat, and his dad loves meat, and he loves his son because his son loves meat, and they bond over meat. Meat is their life now, like, whatever the case is, it wouldn't be surprising if Jacob messed something up, because he's the deceiver, he's the trickster, he's the heel grabber, and he was in this for the birthright,
Yeah.
And as Olivia said, we're reading into the story in a lot of ways here, but like, he could have been tricking him from the get-go. Haven't seen Esau in a few days. I bet when he shows up, he'll be pretty hungry. Like, who knows? Who knows?
And who knows how long he was cooking the stew, because as long as you keep adding water, and it's warm.
Red stuff.
And that.
Well, I do think it is intentional that, like, he comes up, I want red stuff, right? It doesn't tell us it's lentils until after he's eaten it and sold his birthright. So I think the Bible is like doing the like, wait for it. Dang it. I sold my birthright for beans. So
in other words, was this one of the first recorded instances of bait and switch?
Maybe. I'd have to think back through 25 chapters, but yeah, I can give you that. So, yeah, I think we've all had those moments where we've done something stupid in hopes to, like, get something right now, right then. Usually for me, it's going to the store. I see something I really want, and I don't leave the store until I've convinced myself to spend a stupid amount of money to buy it when I know that it's not a good idea. We've all been there, right?
I mean,
How many
Right.
Pokemon cards did you buy the other day again?
Pokemon cards are hard to find. When you find a pack of 12 for $60, you buy it, Olivia. This is not nonsense. It's $4, $4.99 a pack.
Wait, 12 packs or 12 cards?
12 packs. 12 cards. Who do you think I am?
You almost give me a heart attack. I'm like, 12 cards for $60? Like, whoever
Did
sold you
that.
that.
And then I opened it up and there was only beans inside of them. Beans!
I'm like, were they at least foils? Like,
Foil beans! And with that, that's our episode. So, in the meantime...
well, I mean...
Are you still in the bean thing?
No, I was going back to, I remember buying
okay.
things that,
Yeah.
like, for me, it's typically video games right in their initial release. Like, usually for me, I'm not as big of a fan to get the game right immediately. I like to wait for the price to, drop in half.
He's a cheapskate on everything, just to clarify.
Pretty much.
Secondly, this is an insult at me because if I want a video game but can't afford it, I convince him to get it. And then he's upset that he bought it because he paid full price for it.
Well, that was only on the Order 1886, which is an awful game.
It's not an awful game. You just didn't like it for $60.
It was 15 hours of content.
Back then, 15 hours was a lot.
No. Most games were at least 45 plus.
We'll see you all later. Where's the credits? Why didn't it work? Credits! Hit the credits! Ah!